Volkswagen introduced the Atlas 3-row SUV in 2018 as a replacement for the aging Touareg. For 2024, it receives updated exterior styling, but the company made more substantial changes underneath the sheet metal. The 2024 Grand Highlander, on the other hand, is an all-new model from Toyota, and it gets the Grand naming convention not for its style or features, but because it offers more space for people and cargo inside its elongated body, with most of the stretch going to a roomy third row. And to find out which one is better, in this video we will compare both SUVs' designs inside and out, pricing and how they drive. So, without any further ado, let's get into it. The Grand Highlander is technically the sixth 3-row SUV in Toyota's lineup, and while it's not the worst looking, it certainly isn't the best looking SUV in the class. The low grille seems too big and takes up a ton of real estate on the front end, and without the limited or platinum model's 20-inch wheels, the base model's 18 inches make it look very odd. That said, the headlights and taillights are sharp, the front bumper has great angles, and there is a silver trim piece just above the upper grille that ties the whole look together. The muscular and athletic side profile is sleek and dynamic, but is surprisingly devoid of any major swoop-in lines or creases. Around the back, LED taillights extend into the tailgate, which is handsomely sculpted, and dual rear exhaust outlets are integrated into the rear bumper, adding a touch of sportiness to the design. The original Atlas didn't exactly have the best appearance, especially up front, but now, with its facelifted version, they've made some much-needed changes. The front end has a more squared-off look, sporting a wider rectangular grille with less chrome. The headlights are positioned more towards the edges, giving it a wider appearance even though it's actually the same size as before. Moving to the side, it's all about muscle and athleticism. There is a line that starts above the front wheel arches and runs all the way to the back, emphasizing the vehicle's length. It really adds to its overall appeal. At the rear, however, not much has changed. The large Atlas lettering positioned in the center of the liftgate just below the VW logo is still present, while the revised taillights are now connected by a full-width LED bar. Overall, the Atlas is more aggressive looking than its predecessor, and in terms of size, it's pretty much identical to the Grand Highlander. But when it comes to style, the Atlas seems to be the slightly better looking one here. Jumping inside, the Grand Highlander's interior is mostly great. The Platinum model uses plenty of high-quality leather, while the base XLE opts for pleather instead. With the former, the seats, door panels, center console, and dash are all covered in genuine stuff, even higher up where most people won't usually touch. And Toyota opted for rubberized buttons and controls instead of metal dials common in other SUVs. The only questionable thing is the interior trim options. Both the faux wood and geometric black plastic look and feel cheap for an otherwise premium cabin. Every Grand Highlander gets a standard 12.3-inch touchscreen with Toyota's audio multimedia system. The home screen is clean, responses are smartphone quick, and wireless Apple CarPlay and Android Auto may connect in your own device a breeze. The Limited and Platinum models boast a bigger 12.3-inch digital instrument cluster as opposed to the base 7-inch unit. But it's way too busy. Speed, maps, road signs, and the power delivery on the hybrid model all clutter up the cluster to an annoying level. As for the Atlas, the interior design sees a far more substantial change than the exterior, apart from the steering wheel which carries over from last year. The cabin has been revamped with more premium materials. It features a leatherette-trimmed soft-touch dashboard and center console, which VW redesigned to include a storage cubby underneath. Top-of-the-range models feature quilted leather seats with a diamond stitch pattern. There is some hard-touch plastics lower down, but everything within immediate reach feels premium. Compared to the Grand Highlander, it's fairly similar in both ergonomics and material quality. And just like the Toyota, a 12-inch touchscreen comes standard on all versions of the Atlas and is joined by a corresponding 10.3-inch digital instrument cluster. The new center touchscreen replaces last year's base 6.5-inch screen and the optional 8-inch display on higher models, and uses better graphics with a more concise home screen. Apple CarPlay and Android Auto are standard and can be used wirelessly. As for passenger and cargo space, the Grand Highlander seats are soft with solid bolstering and plenty of space in every direction for the front two rows. Climb into the second row, and the captain's chairs suffer from somewhat limited support, especially for tall passengers, but this space is good for the class. Third row access is impressively easy with the sliding seats and is big enough for two adults to sit back there comfortably for long periods of time, thanks to above-average headroom and legroom. As for cargo space, it boasts the second best cargo space behind the third row, a healthy 20.6 cubic feet, Fold it and you get 57.9 cubes, and with all the seats down, you get a best-in-class 97.5 cubes. As for the Atlas, its wheelbase is almost an inch longer than that of the Toyota. The front seats are well cushioned and supportive, and there is ample space for taller drivers and passengers to stretch out. The second row seats are similarly spacious and comfortable, and there is ample space for taller passengers to stretch out. But the third row is admittedly tighter. It's still roomy enough for short adults to fit with wiggle room to spare, which is rarely the case in this segment. Kids, on the other hand, will have more than enough room. As for cargo space, behind the third row there is 20.6 cubic feet. With the third row folded, space grows to 55.5 cubic feet, or 96.8 cubic feet with the second row folded, making it very similar to the Toyota across the board. When it comes to pricing, to get a Grand Highlander, you will be paying a premium. The base XLE model starts at $44,400, which is over $4,000 more than the base Atlas. Next is the Limited at around $49,000, and Platinum at $54,900. All-wheel drive is an $1,100 extra. If you want the hybrid model, it starts at $46,000 with the rest of the trim levels going up from there. As for VW, the 2023 Atlas SE starts at $39,000 and comes with standard LED headlights and taillights, IQ Drive driver assistance, and 3-zone climate control. SE with technology is $43,000, but if you want to go all out on the luxurious SEL Premium R-Line model, this version will cost you at least $53,800. When it comes to driving and handling, the Grand Highlander offers 3 engine options, but the Hybrid Max powertrain might be the best option in the entire class. It combines the same turbocharged from the base model with a battery pack and motors on each axle, giving this version a healthy 362 horsepower and 400 pound-feet. And this combination makes it surprisingly fast, almost like a RAV4 Prime without the plug. It hustles up hilly roads that can challenge the base gas model without breaking a sweat. The base Grand Highlander uses an unobtrusive 8-speed automatic, and the hybrid gets a CVT. Strangely though, the Hybrid Max uses an old-school 6-speed auto that definitely feels clunkier than the better 8-speed. Even with all that heavy battery on board, the Grand Highlander handles well for the 3-row SUV. The suspension borders on stiff compared to some of the softer SUVs in its segment, but it makes up for that slight rigidity with excellent cornering ability. The perfectly weighted steering delivers just enough road feel, while there is a shockingly minimal amount of body roll, especially for such a big SUV. As for VW, the 2024 Atlas also received a significant change under the hood. A turbocharged 2-liter 4-cylinder engine now powers it, replacing the VR6. It makes 269 horsepower and 273 pound-feet of torque, and pairs with an 8-speed automatic transmission that powers the front wheels. This new engine is similar in terms of power to the 3.6-liter V6 from last year. The 0 to 60 time is around 7 seconds. It provides plenty of passing and merging power, along with more linear delivery, which makes for a smoother acceleration. It's comparable to the standard V6s found in the Kia and Honda, but you wouldn't call it fast. Driving the Atlas is reassuring. A raft of active safety features, smooth driving dynamics, and a commanding view all contributes to a relaxing ride. The steering is light in the city and weighs up well on the highway, though it is almost devoid of feedback, but it's still precise. When you switch to sport mode, you won't notice much of a difference in how the suspension feels, but to be honest, it's not really a big deal. Volkswagen has always been good at getting the suspension set up right, and the Atlas is no exception. While it may not be a corner carver, it handles the weight of the vehicle quite well. It provides a smooth ride in the city, and surprisingly, is quite maneuverable despite its size. So, which one should you choose? Well, I think it's really simple. The Grand Highlander just seems to offer a better overall package, even if at a slightly higher premium, especially if you go for the Max Hybrid powertrain.